Hello everybody, this is WarriorDan, and today, because I forgot to get this video out in time for its initial planned release date of Halloween, we're taking a look at Hatred, a game that ironically spawned so much hatred towards it that it was initially removed from Steam, then literally a day later reappeared, accompanied by a full apology from Valve, which soon paved the way for Valve stepping back from manually curating content on their own platform, and instead just opening the floodgates for all games, with the previous quality assurance standards promptly thrown out the nearest window. Normally this would be the point in my video where I'd stop and say the gameplay you're seeing on screen now is highly disturbing, and if you're sensitive to this type of over-the-top violence, even in the context of me critiquing and oftentimes mocking it, then all I can say is this.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
There's frankly so much I could say about this game. It is just terrible. And I'm not even bothered by the violence. I grew up with PS1 games like Resident Evil, Doom, and Silent Hill. I was playing these games as far back as when I was 7 or 8. Although admittedly not really with my parents' permission, I kind of got around that by playing at my cousin's house. At the end of the day, violence itself doesn't really offend me. Bad gameplay is what offends me, I'll be honest. And trust me, that is something that Hatred has in spades. Upon launching the game, I had the option to either play the story mode, or just jump in and start killing things without any story. In hindsight, I don't think my choice made all that much difference. Kind of like a Telltale game if you think about it. At the beginning and end of the level, you get these really odd 1 minute long narrations from the main character, where he just stands there making this list of vague observations, all the while mixing in some self-motivational lines too. At the conclusion of the first level, I encountered this really funny bug where, when he was giving this really serious speech about killing like a building full of people, his hair physics started going absolutely bonkers, and his hair started flopping around like it had a life of its own. It totally killed the mood for me. I was laughing my ass off over something I should have been frowning at. Meanwhile, NPCs are running around in the background screaming and talking loudly to one another, while your guy keeps on rambling while his hair does, well, whatever it is it's doing.
Hide anywhere you
I
can.
never thought it would be so easy to slaughter my whole neighborhood. I can feel their pain, their suffering flowing through my veins. It's like the most intense drug, and I need more, much more.
Now getting back to gameplay, you've got your top-down run-and-gun type gameplay. Your goal is to kill as many civilians as possible. However, the more civilians you kill, the more the police will escalate their response. First, sending in only a single patrol car, then sending progressively larger waves of enemies to follow and potentially kill you. If you manage to continue evading them and ultimately continue expressing your rather violent tendencies towards the public, the police will ultimately call for the public at large to take shelter in the local police department, which will be guarded by a swarm of heavily armed officers. However, while your guns may fail you, nothing, not even an entire building of police officers, can withstand the mighty power of a hatred-filled kick. This default melee attack ability is so hilariously overpowered it's often almost preferable over using most of your normal weapons. One thing I'll give the game credit for is the amount of destructibility. Cars flying through walls, explosions everywhere. When there's a lot on screen, this is where the game shines. If the game had more of this and actually gave the player more types of weapons to add more to the over-the-top destruction, then you might have had some replay value. However, this is not the course that the game went. While your character is an incredible bullet sponge, absorbing massive amounts of incoming damage, he is not fully invincible. At some point, you'll run low on health. The solution for this? You must learn to take out innocents more effectively. Most civilians can take roughly 4 or 5 bullets from your pistol or machine gun. If you hold back on that last bullet, you can put them in a state of near death and then finish them off with a cutscene execution, which upon completion will restore a modest amount of health to your character. After the initial shock value wears off during the first 5 to 10 minutes, the game kind of just falls into this weary repetition trend of shoot civilians, then shoot cops, then shoot civilians and cops, then run away. Rinse and repeat. While I personally have no problem with Hatred existing and being sold on Steam, I just don't see any draw towards the game. The controls are absolutely terrible, the in-game performance is more often than not shaky at best, and the gameplay can be a real bore. This is a game that needed far longer time in the development oven but didn't get it. Even if they had done just a few basic fixes like allowing us to see our objectives at all times, as well as our progress represented in either percentage form or in basic numerical values, it would have been nice to get a little bit more visible information. And maybe a bit more deviation with the finishing execution cutscenes. I'm frankly tired of seeing the same 4 or 5 cutscenes over and over and over again. The longer the duration I play, the more I start to detest it. To paraphrase FDR, the only thing we have to hate is hatred itself. Hatred is currently priced at $5.99 USD on Steam. Not a bad price point, but unless you really want a boring rinse and repeat top-down shooter, this game likely isn't the one for you. Okay, now that I'm done probably killing my channel's potential at any form of success by making this video, that's where I'm going to wrap it up for today. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more review videos like this one in the future, be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell icon to opt into getting notifications so you can be among the first to know when a new video goes live. This is WarriorDan signing out. Stay awesome, everybody, and peace out.